See, this is interesting to me. Clearly they wrote dope, but what they certainly meant to write was Pope. I am PontFX, the Pope of Cephalophore. The world was not ready for my message of truth and honesty, so I've had to take my work underground. And I'm coming to you from this ruined pavilion to talk about some very important issues, some key themes that run through this work we've been doing. Pivotal to these themes is a song by the name of Street Pharmacist. Now I would like to direct your attention to something. Get high and take some acid. Not necessarily the best advice, but as graffiti it works because it's direct, it's to the point. It's not art. Good graffiti is art. But that makes a statement. It makes a statement directly. Now the statement that makes is, I am 15. But that's beside the point. As I may have mentioned, themes. Yes, themes. Now, one of the biggest themes, really, in a lot of my work, but in particular this song, is realness, or more accurately, truth. And more accurately still, the boundary between truth and falsehood. Now, I have difficulty because I don't know what those words mean precisely. I mean, obviously I know the definitions, but there's no real set definition of truth. There's no upper or lower barrier to truth. There's no ultimate way to know truth. And an interesting idea to me is that sometimes what's directly true can be more deceitful than the lie. Like, for example, people always say, like, be real, like, just be real with people, be yourself. But what if what yourself is a liar? Like, I mean, how does a chameleon be real? If it tried to cut away pretense or artifice, if it tried to not disguise itself, it would be being fundamentally more dishonest for not being itself as a chameleon, as a nature's liar. Now, at the foundation of truth, like, what the most true thing is blood and bone. Like, I mean, beyond whatever else I am, I'm a piece of meat, some blood, a pulse, some brain tissue, whatever else. That doesn't really tell you anything about, like, what I'm doing now or what I'm experiencing or anything like that, but that's true. Now, but if you just take that as the highest truth, then everything else I've done with me talking into this camera right now, me doing anything other than, like, fucking and eating and dying and sleeping's important, is fundamentally a lie in some way or another. It's pretense. But, like, if you take that as the case, then you'll gain no understanding of anything really beyond just that. So, to even live in this world as we understand it, you engage in a sort of deceit. And that's an important theme to me. Another important element of this song is what narcotics do to people, specifically heroin, which is what the song was basically written about. Bloodborne pathogens, abscesses, I give you the world, you give me disease. And that's the relationship between a person and a drug is much like the relationship between a person and another person. It's give and take. It's a sort of love, a twisted, destructive form of love, but love nonetheless. And when I was on drugs, I personified them, and I saw them as a lover. I felt that I owed drugs some sort of loyalty. I gave everything I had to them, and in return, now see, this is interesting. They didn't even use spray paint. They just scratched some bullshit on the stone. Yes. Where was I going with this? Oh, yes. But, be that as it may, the corrosive nature of this relationship slowly, like, depletes your own identity and supplants it with the drug. But no one would engage in that if they found what they had to be worth having. Like, no one... People do drugs. People engage in any sort of self-destructive behavior. Narcotics, sexual deviance, violence, anything. It can have outward ramifications of destroying the world around them, but what they're intending to do the entire time is destroy themselves. And I don't mean that in like an after-school special kind of way. I mean like in a philosophical sort of way, like the self they have is worthless and devalued, so they transfer that into something else, into this drug. And that's what the song is all about. Like, people seek strength and become brittle. People seek weakness and become strong. Like, you look for one thing and it's substituted for something else that's completely different, usually completely worthless. And it's an interesting concept to me. It's an interesting song. I suggest you check it out if you haven't already. Once again, this is PontFX of Cephalopore, coming to you from a ruined pavilion somewhere in the great state of Indiana. Have a good evening, or morning, or afternoon, what the fuck ever. But I'll be back on this channel.